Medusa, meanwhile, belonged to a totally different order of creatures known as beasts. Much like monster, the word beast has come to refer to any vicious creature in our language, but originally it was the collective name to any creature that came from another multiverse that is still connected to our own, called the Savage Realm. All of the life forms in this realm were predators, though they were not like demons, the collective name for all creatures from the hellish realm, who were compelled to kill and torture for their own enjoyment. Beasts hunt for a variety of reasons, and certain species of beasts also possess a code of honour. Beasts' powers are also considerably different to demons. Creatures like centaurs, krakens, manticores, hydras, minotaurs, and cyclops are members of the beast family. Throughout the history of the Omniverse, many of the weaker breeds of beasts have travelled to other realms to find easier prey, and before recorded history began, a large invasion of beasts of different kind arrived on Earth in the hopes of making it a new hunting ground. Unfortunately for the beasts, however, at that point in Earth's history, the gods had settled on our world and easily defeated them. Though not all of the beasts were destroyed, and many were kept as pets and foot soldiers of the gods. Originally, several groups of gods who were vastly powerful creatures from yet another multiverse hoped to live in peace with humanity, and even helped us rebuild after a renegade member of their order, Set, had invaded the Earth, with Set having also destroyed the homeworlds of many of these gods, hence why they had settled on the Earth. Still, it sadly didn't take long for these powerful beings to take advantage of the primitive creatures who worshipped them and become drunk with power. Medusa was arguably the most tragic example of the folly and cruelty of the gods. Originally, she was a human and a loyal priestess of Athena, among the most noble and wise of all the deities who had settled on Earth. Medusa and Athena always had a strained relationship, however, as Medusa questioned the goddess's wisdom more than any of her other followers. At first, Athena appreciated Medusa's independence, and in some instances even followed her advice. Eventually, however, Medusa and Athena came to blows. Metaphorically speaking, of course, and Medusa was banished from Athena's service. During her last night in her former master's temple, where Medusa attempted to run away with a former soldier of Athena, who had also lost faith in the goddess, Medusa was attacked and raped by Athena's most loyal soldier, called Aschera, who also killed Medusa's lover and framed her for the killing. Naturally, Athena believed Aschera, who, aside from being her favourite, was also seen as a great hero in Greece, and decided to punish Medusa for desecrating her temple and killing what she thought was a loyal soldier. She cursed Medusa and turned her into the most hideous of all beasts, a Gorgon. These creatures were feared even by other beasts due to their ability to turn people to stone with their eyes. Medusa was subsequently shunned to the island of Saprodita, away from any other human. The only people that Medusa encountered for the next several decades were either great warriors wanting to kill her, or people sent to her island to die. Eventually, after 100 years, Medusa was slain by the Greek hero Perseus, who in turn used her head to slay another renegade beast, known as the Kraken. After this, her body was left to rot, and following the war with Ares, another renegade, the surviving gods, including Athena, left the earth, believing their presence had hindered humanity. From this point on, recorded human history begins, with the gods' stay on the earth being incorporated into the mythologies of various cultures around the world. Medusa, meanwhile, was allowed to rest until the late 19th century. Ironically, it was Athena that eventually revived her when she finally learned the truth. Ischera had been made into a minor deity by Athena for his bravery against Ares during her time on Earth, and had later left with the gods when they returned to the godly realm, where he continued to serve Athena for centuries afterwards. He was later mortally wounded by a demon using dark magics that even Athena couldn't cure. On his deathbed, he admitted to Athena what had really happened with Medusa. No one knows exactly why he finally confessed. Perhaps in his final moments he was terrified of being judged for his sins by a power above the gods. Perhaps it was to gloat over Athena, as there was nothing she could do to punish him now. Much like Medusa herself, ironically, over the centuries his loyalty to Athena had wavered somewhat. Alternatively, perhaps it was out of loyalty for Athena, so she could make up for a past mistake. Either way, Athena instantly travelled back to Earth. She could only remain a short time, not wanting to interfere in human affairs again. In the limited space she had, Athena brought Medusa back from the grave. Unfortunately, even Athena could not undo her past curse and make Medusa back into a human. She was, however, able to overrun Medusa's killer beast instincts and be herself again, though in some ways that was worse, as it allowed Medusa to feel the guilt for all the men she had slaughtered in her time on the island. Athena also placed a special kind of magical barrier around Medusa's eyes, which would prevent her from turning anyone who looked at her to stone, though Medusa could still turn people to stone by firing green energy beams from her eyes, with the effect also only being temporary. Athena begged for Medusa's forgiveness, and told her that Medusa could use her powers to help others and redeem both their souls. Understandably, Medusa refused to listen to the goddess, and went into hiding for the next 60 years until the 1920s. By that time, Medusa had come to settle in Greece, living on the streets until she became friends with a young woman named Medusa and her brother Matt, who soon took her in, and convinced the Gorgon that at least some of humanity was worth saving. With Medusa and Matt by her side, Medusa became a great hero, battling many creatures in her former homeland. Sadly, her reputation never really improved. Thanks to the early myths and humanity's reluctance to accept what was really out there in the 20th and 21st centuries, the name Medusa would always be associated with a hideous beast to the majority of people. Still, at the very least, to those who knew the truth about what was really out there, Medusa instead became known as one of the greatest heroes of them all.